Hello and welcome to The Muppets, the Sitcom, the podcast, presented by ToughPigs.com. This is the podcast where we revisit The Muppets' grand return to television in the 2015 ABC series The Muppets and see how it holds up 5 years later. You can follow along with the series by revisiting The Muppets 2, now streaming on Disney+. I'm Joe Hennes, one of your hosts for today's show, and joining me is your other host. Please introduce yourself, other host.
I'm Ryan Rowe, the other host.
That's you! And it's
me.
weird because it's both of us. We've been taking turns this whole time, and now we're back. The OGs.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been. I missed you, Ryan.
Aw, thanks. Likewise.
Well, today we are not looking at an episode of the series because we've already reviewed all of those things.
There's no more.
There's no more. For good or bad, there's no more episodes to review. But instead, we are going way back to the beginning to discuss the 2015 pilot presentation for The Muppets, the sitcom, in which the Muppets learn that they're getting a new TV series, and we learn what a mockumentary format is.
Because we never knew before.
We didn't, because we've never seen The Office, or Parks and Recreation, or What We Do in the Shadows, or This is
Modern
Spinal
Family.
Tap. Modern Family. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. So you may be wondering, what is the Muppets pilot presentation? It was a short video that the Muppet folks put together to pitch the series to ABC. It is about 10 minutes long. This pilot was filmed in April 2015. It was screened for ABC executives in May 2015. It's a pretty quick turnaround. Apparently, at that screening, it received a standing ovation, which is
how about
a pretty
that?
big deal. Yeah, they stood up.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of effort.
I don't think I ever stood up when I was watching the show. I just sat on my couch the whole time.
This pilot was screened for fans at San Diego Comic-Con in July 2015, so just a couple months later. And then 2 weeks after that, it appeared on YouTube, where we all saw it. And it stayed there up until the series premiered, and then they removed it from YouTube.
I don't think it was the original plan for them to put it on YouTube. It seemed like because there was so much buzz after Comic-Con that they finally decided, all right, we'll put it up so everyone can see it.
That seems very possible, and that's definitely the narrative that they put through. The presentation that you and I have seen, and if you go on YouTube, somewhere someone has uploaded it as well. It starts with a disclaimer, which reads, "The following presentation was made by the Muppets to convince ABC to make a new show starring the Muppets. It was never meant to be seen by the public, but following Comic-Con, demand to see it was overwhelming. So the network was able to cut through the red tape." Yes, and then there's a voice that says, "Show us." And then the narrator says, "Here it is. You got what you wanted. Please stop yelling at us." So, yes, the narrative that they put together was like, well, we weren't going to show this to you anyway, but here you go.
And I assume that the red tape, if there was any actual red tape, a lot of it probably has to do with the two celebrity cameos that are in this.
Well, yes. I also, and this is pure speculation, but I know that things do get complicated as well when you're filming something that's not meant for public consumption. Like you've already paid all the performers, meaning the puppeteers.
They had a certain contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible that maybe Disney thought ahead and thought, well, we might want to show this somewhere, so we'll have everyone sign just in case, or whatever the case was. But I honestly have no idea if this was part of their grand plan anyway, because in the end, it ended up being a really good promotion for the show.
Yeah.
Like, it got us excited about it.
Oh, so excited, yeah.
Yeah. So, like we said, this thing's only about 10 minutes long, so we'll go through it in some detail. We'll talk about some of the scenes. A lot of this stuff ended up kind of like jokes and references and even celebrities kind of just shifted over to the show itself. So we've already talked about a lot of that stuff. If
That's
you're
true.
Curious what we have to say about it, you got 15 episodes of this podcast that you can go back and listen to anytime you want. So this episode starts with like a typewriter kind of like animation, kind of like spelling out the title of the show, which of course is The Muppets, all lowercase in the Korean font.
And that by itself was sort of controversial at first, because it was like, oh, is this just going to be like, I think it was similar to The Office, or the perception was that it was very similar to The Office, and it was like, is this just going to be a knockoff, or is this going to be like, why is it such a plain logo? Shouldn't the Muppets have a show with a really bright, happy logo?
For sure. And also, like, don't forget, it's coming just a few years after they made a movie called The Muppets. And we've
That
talked about
too.
this before. Like, it's a TV show, a movie, the brands, like, the whole franchise is called The Muppets. Like, the troupe is called The Muppets. When you say The Muppets, I actually have no idea what you're talking about. So
Right.
that,
We on the internet we have to type like M11 or M15.
yeah, right. We have to go to shorthand.
Yeah.
And also, I think that what's funny to me is because this thing is written in lowercase with a period at the end, a lot of fans just assumed like, well, that's what the title is, and so they spelled it lowercase t, lowercase m, period at the end, which I don't like. That throws
No,
me
that's
off.
it's a stylization thing. I don't think we have to type it that way every time.
No, and we don't.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But as the letters are kind of popping up one at a time, there's a moment where it almost spells the Muppets, and then it
Right.
backspaces, and then it spells the Muppets. That made me think of two things. One was the Harry Belafonte episode of the Muppet Show, which begins with Fozzie as the writer of the show, and he has made a typo-riddled introduction for Kermit the Frog to read, which is hysterical. Leggies and Jenglefins, etc., etc. Go watch the Harry Belafonte episode of the Muppet Show. It's on Disney Plus right now. Go watch it.
Yeah. Go watch it.
It's so good. The other thing it made me think of was the Muppets Go to the Movies, which is not on Disney Plus,
Oh
because
yeah.
in their intro there's a big stone title, The Muppets Go to the Movies, but it says the Muffets with F's
Right.
instead of P's, and then later on, and I should have looked it up. Fozzie has a line about it. It's like, so I don't spell so good, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, or actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting that confused with Harry Belafonte. That's what he says in Harry Belafonte.
Oh, my typing's not so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. But Fozzie does come in and have a line about the misspelling of
Maybe he
Muffets.
says I never could spell.
Yeah, that's kind of familiar. Well,
Yeah.
everyone go find that video and tell us that we're wrong. Um,
Right.
so, but then also, like, as the letters are popping up, you can hear, like, it's just kind of like random Muppet sound effects in the background. And one of them is Fozzie laughing. So I feel like Fozzie is, like, consistently present for all of these typos.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't
Fozzie's
that
just
interesting?
a yeah. He's just a bad speller.
It's continuity. I love it.
Yeah.
So our first scene of this whole thing is at a production meeting. We've seen this many times throughout the series, with all the Muppets sitting around a big boardroom table. A little bit of chaos because they're all chatting at the same time. Someone's throwing paper airplanes.
There's several paper airplanes.
Several paper airplanes. Definitely reminds me of the opening of the Muppet movie when they're in the theater. Someone throws a paper airplane, hits Sam the Eagle right in the armpit.
Right. Among the many characters, you know who's there? Walter.
Walter is there.
We do not see Walter in the series, but he managed to make an appearance in this pilot.
That's a really good observation. And also, I counted how many Muppets are around this table. Do you want to make? Do you want to take a guess how many Muppets there were?
It's a lot. So you kind of like every Muppet that we ever see in this scene.
Just
Not
in this scene,
necessarily.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, 25.
You are very close. I counted 28, not counting the ones that there's some that come in later on. I could read all the names to you, but that would be very boring.
Wayne, Wanda, Behemoth,
Yep, and the gang.
a bunch of people. Yeah.
And then there's a few that like you only see for a split second. Like Robin is there for like a split second, but he's there. You know,
Oh, I didn't notice him.
Pops is there. He's sleeping through the meeting, which is pretty funny.
The thingy thing is there, I think.
Well, so that comes up in a minute. Those are some of the
Okay.
characters that come in through the door during this meeting.
Oh, okay.
So Kermit is struggling to get everyone's attention, and Bunsen volunteers to help. And his help consists of hitting Beaker with a taser. And Beaker screams, and everyone shifts their attention to Beaker. Beaker falls. Kermit says, "Is that safe?" And Bunsen says, "Of course, I'm wearing protective gloves." Now, I don't know how you feel about this. I thought this was not a funny joke at all because this has nothing to do with Bunsen and Beaker's relationship. It's nothing to do with science, etc., etc. But the punchline of Bunsen saying, "No, it's perfectly fine. I'm good. I'm wearing gloves." Like that.
Right.
That landed for me. That saved the joke.
Yeah, that's Bunsen's obliviousness.
Correct. Yeah.
Did they not use this in the first episode of the series? I forgot to go back and look. I thought they had.
Great question. Yes, that is in the episode "Pig Girls Don't Cry." That is the first
Yeah,
episode
there
of
you
the
go.
series. Yes. by the way, a very helpful article on the Muppet Wiki for the presentation pilot, which has a list of all the jokes that were used in this pilot that were recycled for the series.
Oh, that's very helpful for our purposes.
For just now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have played it off as if I knew that off the top of my head, but I didn't want to fool our listeners. That would have been.
Well, I would have believed you.
Thanks. I said it with such conviction. So Kermit tells the gang that ABC wants to produce a new primetime series starring the Muppets, and everyone's really excited about that. But here's my question: Why are they there? Why are they in a production meeting if they haven't? If they're not working on a show right now? Like Kermit is telling them, "Hey, big news, everyone."
Yeah, I guess maybe the Muppets just periodically have meetings where Kermit tells them if they have anything coming up or what they should expect, or
I mean,
if they're
I'll
going to
accept
have
it.
a holiday party that year. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it does explain why they're all kind of so unruly at the beginning, because it's like we keep having these meetings and we're just sitting around, nothing to
Yeah,
talk about.
there's
So
nothing
just
to
wants
work
paper
on. Yeah.
airplanes. Yeah. Sam's excited. He says, "God bless America and its broadcasting company."
Yes.
And this felt like very much like they're really pandering to those ABC executives.
Oh yeah.
That's why they got that standing O.
Maybe that's when they stood up. Yeah.
That's right. Kermit tells everyone it's sort of an adult Muppet show, which is not necessarily what I think they want to hear and not what we want to hear.
Well, this was another thing that was much like very hotly debated at the time of like, oh, how adult is this going to be? Do we want to see an adult Muppet show? I don't know.
Right. He says that the audiences will see all their home lives, their personal lives. At that moment, because Bunsen and Beaker are standing behind Kermit, Bunsen kind of gives Beaker this little look of like, "Uh-oh."
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I've seen the pilot presentation a few times and I didn't notice it
Yeah.
until today, but it definitely seems like they're hiding a little something.
Yeah. Well, it was and there was a lot of like, oh, like I don't. Is it going to be about the Muppets having sex? I don't want to see that. That kind of reaction on the internet.
Right.
So,
And so Bunsen
I,
was like, "Okay, well, we won't show them the sex that Beaker and I are
right.
having."
I guess, but I think they made some mistakes maybe, and obviously this wasn't supposed to be shown to the general audience, but I think maybe they oversold the adult, like how adult it was going to be, and stuff related to that. And I think that hurt it in the long run.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then also like the first half of the show was pretty adult at times.
That's true. Yeah, it does. It does get pretty adult.
Yeah. So Floyd pipes up and suggests that hey, maybe they should film film the show in that documentary style with cutaways to one-on-one interviews, which is it's pretty forward thinking of Floyd to think of something like that.
Yeah, not maybe not the character that you would think would be the obvious one to suggest that.
Who do you think should have suggested the mockumentary format?
I could see Walter saying it.
Walter would be the one because he's like,
Or
yeah, he would want to see like the real. Oh, we're showing everyone everything. Like, yeah, like don't
yeah,
script that. Show us what it's really like.
yeah, or Scooter.
Yeah, I can see Scooter saying that. So this is now we get to maybe my favorite moment in the pilot where Gonzo says he kind of has this like almost panic look on his face as Floyd is suggesting the documentary style, and he says, "Cut to interviews. That's just a totally overused device to make easy jokes. Talking to the camera about how you really feel and then cutting back and saying something completely different. I just hate that." And then we cut to Gonzo in the room and he says, "I love it. Great device."
Yeah, there were a few. I think my expectations were that there would be more jokes like that on the series where they were sort of subverting and making fun of the mockumentary style, and there were a few, but there weren't that many ultimately.
Not enough. Not enough to justify.
Yeah,
Like, why are we doing a mockumentary format so late in the game?
yeah,
Yeah, and it's a shame. And Gonzo, it was just such a perfect character to make that kind of observation because he straddles the the weird with the realistic so well. Of
yeah,
like of course he'd be like, "This is dumb," but also I'm in.
yeah. I like this sort of sardonic Gonzo that we see occasionally.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention when they're talking about it being an adult Muppet show, Animal says, "Animal do nudity if tasteful." That made me
Did
laugh.
that made you laugh? Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure because that could go either way.
He wants it to be tasteful. I think it's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
good.
and of course, like, does that make you think of that awful poster of Animal where he's
Oh,
nude and he's holding like a towel over himself and he says, "Want to see why they call me Animal?"
yeah, that is not tasteful.
That is not enjoyable at all. That was right. That's like Animal knows where the line is between tasteful and untasteful because he did that photo shoot.
Right. He learned his lesson, I hope.
I hope so. So at this moment, Chip enters, and at this, we had not seen Chip really. We've seen him in the background and things, but we hadn't really seen him since the Muppets Tonight days. And he comes in with three other Muppets of varying degrees of obscurity. And he says, "Do you think the show could use some incredibly obscure Muppets that no one remembers?" And Kermit says, "Sure." And you are? And Chip responds, "I don't know. I think I was in a holiday special or something. I'll figure it out." For the record, Chip was in one Muppet holiday special.
Was he in It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie?
He was, yes. He has a non-speaking role in that film.
He usually, I mean, he mostly has had non-speaking roles because he was,
Yeah,
of course, to us, Chip is not an incredibly obscure character. He's a very famous and familiar character because he was on the Jim Henson Hour, but then yeah, like you say, after that he was just kind of like in the
yeah,
ensemble or in crowd scenes of Muppets.
exactly. The other Muppets that are with him, as you mentioned, there's the Thingy Thing, also known as one of the Hugga Wugga characters from the Muppet Show, and Beautiful Day Monster, who is absolutely a fan favorite. There's also
Yes.
this like reddish brown monster. Who
Oh yeah, I think he might be from Muppets Tonight also.
he is, and the Muppet Wiki actually refers to the character as a she because the
Oh.
character seen in Muppet Nights from the Prince episode, when Prince sings "Starfish and Coffee." This is
Ah.
Cynthia Rose, which is probably just the first time the character had ever really gotten a name because that's the lyrics of the song. But apparently in the credits, and I'm not sure what credits, this is just according to the wiki, for this pilot presentation, the character is given the name Satay,
Oh.
Satay. Yeah.
That's
So
very interesting. I didn't
yeah,
even recognize it as the same character as Cynthia Rose, and I love that Muppets Tonight bit with Prince.
yeah, absolutely, it's
So,
great.
huh.
But there you go. So that's like I said, varying degrees of obscurity
Yeah,
with these
they
characters.
got me there
Yeah. Then Kermit turns to his left, and who's been sitting at the table the whole time but Elizabeth Banks
the whole time.
the whole time, and she's braiding Janice's hair, which I think is
I love that little
hysterical.
bit of business. Yeah.
That's perfect. She asks Kermit, "What about famous celebrities? We have them on the show." Kermit says, "That's a good suggestion. Do you know anybody?" And she's like genuinely hurt, which she's great. She's hysterical.
Oh yeah, she plays that perfectly.
She does. And of the two celebrities who appear in this presentation, she's the one who actually does appear on the Muppets sitcom,
Right?
as you and I talked about because we talked about that episode together in the first episode. Elizabeth Banks
Yes.
returns to guest on Up Late with Miss Piggy.
Yeah. And she's funny in that episode too.
She's pretty great in everything she does.
Yeah.
So Fozzie has some bad news for Kermit. He's going to break it to him in the form of a joke. He says, "Hey, what has 2 ears and a snout and isn't doing the show?" And he says, "Piggy's not doing the show?" And Fozzie responds, "Huh, my Uber driver laughed."
Yeah, that's like a sign of things to come as far as the very contemporary references that are all over the series.
Yeah, we knew it at the time. I remember commenting on a few of these. It's like, are we going to be talking about Uber in a few years?
Well,
Uh,
Uber still exists, but
Uber still
I feel
exists,
like
but
this was also in a window of a couple of years where comedy writers just loved Uber. Like there were so many sitcoms and SNL sketches and stand-up bits where somebody would just mention Uber and it would get a laugh from the audience for whatever reason, just because we
right.
recognized Uber. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's happening here.
And now that we've said Uber so many times, the sound of the word has lost all meaning. Uber. Uber.
Yeah, well, I mean, who
Uber.
thinks of the original meaning of Uber anymore?
Well, I think the original meaning of Uber, you need an umlaut. Umlaut.
Um,
Umlaut.
Probably.
Umlaut.
Is that what you're going to
Uma?
call your
Oprah.
ride-sharing
Uma?
service?
Oprah.
Your
Yes.
your ride-sharing service will be called Umlaut.
Exactly, yes. So Kermit asks Fozzie if he'll come with him to go talk Piggy into being on the show, and Fozzie says he can't because he's meeting his girlfriend's parents, which we'll get to that scene in a few minutes, and he needs to go home first and change. And Kermit points out to him, but you only ever wear that necktie, and Fozzie says, so I won't run, which is really good. Like I feel like Eric Jacobson's line reading of "So I won't run." It's just like it's so like he downplays it so well that gave
Yeah,
me a good laugh.
yeah, it is very funny. But Kermit's actual line is all you wear is a bow tie, which is inaccurate because Fozzie does wear a necktie. Fozzie doesn't wear a bow tie. There's a difference, Kermit. Come on.
He, good grief, that comedian's a bear.
Right. No, he's not. He's wearing a necktie. They did a whole bit about it, which is one of the most classic Muppet Show bits. I'm really surprised that Kermit forgot.
I'm it's funny. I'm not surprised that the writers might have gotten that line wrong, but I am surprised that like Steve Whitmire and Eric Jacobson didn't go like, actually, can we just change the word bow to neck? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't change the joke.
I
It's
mean,
just accurate.
it doesn't look like what you think of when you think of a necktie. It's sort of like a scarf or
Yeah,
something,
it's
but
kind of tied like a necktie. Like it kind of looks like a
yeah,
little bit of a half Windsor there.
yeah, but
But
it's
it's definitely
definitely
not a
not a
bow
bow
tie.
tie.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not. And what's funny, I feel like I've seen illustrations where it is more like a huge sagging bow tie,
Hmm.
but it's definitely not IRL.
Is there a Muppet who wears a bow tie?
Sure. And anytime anyone's wearing a tuxedo, so like old
That's
school
right.
Gonzo,
Yeah, Gonzo on the Muppet Show. Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Nigel.
he wears a yeah. So Gonzo suggests that maybe Piggy is only holding out on the show to get back at Kermit for dating Denise, and so now we're being introduced to Denise for the first time. Um, she is we see throughout the series, she's a little bit more of a I'm not know if I'd say three-dimensional character, but like she's definitely more of a character than she is here. Who she gets
Oh
very
yeah.
few lines. I wouldn't even say she gets any lines other than kind of like you kind of hear Julianne Busher's voice in the background a couple times. So Kermit sees her and says, "What can I say, Gonzo? I'm attracted to pigs." And Gonzo goes, "Yeah, me too."
That I would love to know if that was an ad lib by Dave Goles because it just I don't know it just feels like it might be.
It definitely feels like a Dave Gold's joke. It also feels like he deliberately made the pause so long so that if they didn't want to use the joke, they could cut it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
but
it's a really long pause, but that
yeah,
makes it also hysterical because
yeah,
he also
it's
kind of says "me too" under his breath,
me too.
like he's like
Yeah,
just kind of admitting it to himself a little bit.
right. It's so unexpected. It's very funny.
Absolutely.
And Denise, by the way, I don't know if you have this in your notes later, but this is the first version of Denise where it's just this Pamela Hamderson puppet from Muppets Tonight with a different wig on, and they would redesign Denise before the actual series.
Absolutely. And we did talk about this earlier in the podcast series, but what's interesting to me about it, and I think this is a big reason why there was such a huge backlash against Denise from the onset, is that Spamela Hamderson back on Muppets Tonight, she only existed to be a sex symbol.
Yeah,
So we've got that connection to this character, this version of Denise, and now we're attributing that to a character that we really don't know yet. But let's like, is Kermit really only dating her because she's sexy? Are we really talking about the fact that this pig puppet is sexy, which is a weird thing to say out loud at all? And I don't want to think about that. Like, the way
yeah,
Denise was, later in the series was perfectly fine. Um, I don't know. I guess we didn't think about them having sex unless you really stop to think about like what it's like for two people who are in a relationship. But I don't know. That's a
yeah.
complicated thing that we don't necessarily need to get into on this podcast.
No, I don't. But it is. Yeah, you're right. Like just something about the design of Denise, where I think it's fair to say that she's designed like, the later version too, designed to look more like conventionally attractive than Piggy by human standards anyway.
Yeah.
Even though they're both pigs, so
Yep.
yeah,
Well, they
that may
definitely
have
made. You're
been
right. They made an effort to like the eye like the later Denise puppet like the eyes are a little bit like pointed. The nose is smaller. She has a trimmer figure.
yeah,
Like she's showing a little bit of cleavage. Like they like I think 100% they're trying to show like what if Piggy was a little bit sexier, and
Yeah.
again, like you said, to uh, like the overall. I don't know how to put it into words. Like the overall public, the pop culture eye. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
which is it's all just kind of
yeah, the whole thing feels ugh.
do we have to?
Right.
Yeah. Why does she even have to be a pig? Why couldn't Kermit be dating a I don't know, a penguin or something?
Well, you're right, and like it's. I mean, I think a part of it is the fact that Kermit is still in love with Piggy at this point
Yeah.
and doesn't want to admit it to himself or to anyone else, and so this is just obviously a replacement for Piggy.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's only for this one joke. It's only so that he can say, like, what could I say? I got a thing for pigs, and then never mention it again.
Yeah. Well, there's the joke at the end of this that I think is also relevant, but yeah, you're right. It's all very unfortunate for Denise as a character because she was sort of doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. Um, so moving on, Kermit goes to visit Piggy. She's on set filming a Civil War film. Her co-star is Topher Grace, star of that '70s show. Hello, Topher.
Yeah.
Good to see you. This is Topher Grace's only Muppet credit. He's never
Huh.
worked with the Muppets before or since, which is a little surprising. I would think
Yeah.
that if nothing else, he would have shown up on this sitcom later on, but he did not, and
Yeah.
I don't know why. Last year, or sorry, I think it's more recently. Could be this year. Someone tweeted to Topher Grace a clip from this episode, and he responded. Piggy and I actually dated for a few months after this. In the end, I just couldn't keep up with her sexually, but we remain good friends to this day. Which, he's a good
That's
sport.
yeah, that's good.
It also feels a little bit like an abbreviated version of what Charles Grodin had said
Yeah, I
about
would for sure.
Piggy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a better memory of this than I do of what Grodin
Well,
wrote?
yeah, I mean, he has in interviews talked about how he was genuinely attracted to her, and then he wrote that weird magazine article about the true story of how he met the actor who plays Miss Piggy, who is actually like a miniature half pig, half human, and he had a romantic evening with her. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
What a what a weird human being that Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
The director in this scene, who's directing the Civil War movie, his name is Joel Steingold. I looked up his IMDb credits. He's been on Star Trek Enterprise and Firefly and a bunch of other TV shows. Just working actor in LA. That's all.
Sure.
But he tells Piggy, why he asks her, "Why are you doing a French accent? Because you're supposed to be a nurse from Atlanta."
Yeah.
And Piggy goes, "Okay, so I'm at Trader Joe's last night, picking up a couple of tubes of cookie dough and a light burgundy when it hits me. This chick is French." And apparently they have to do reshoots or ADR or whatever to fix this movie. She doesn't care. It's the
Yeah,
director's
because they've been
problem.
filming for a few weeks already.
That's right.
The Trader
So
Joe's thing also feels a little bit like one of those, like this is 2015 references.
I completely agree. The old Muppet Show didn't. They were able to like somehow feel current without making specific references. I think maybe it was just that mix of like timeless stuff with like modern song covers, things like that,
Oh
or
yeah.
or maybe it was just the guest stars. But like they didn't need to talk about I don't know shopping at Woolworths. So we all go oh Woolworths, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You know,
don't think there's a lot of
paging through
that.
the Sears catalog.
Right.
Oh,
Not as much
uh,
anyway.
it's true. So Piggy spots Kermit and Gonzo. She goes, "Kermit, what a pleasant surprise to see you, and whoever you are." And Gonzo says, "Are you kidding? We made like 6 movies together, 3 TV shows. We did love letters for a month at the Fisher Theater in Detroit." And Piggy says, "I want to say Gary." He goes, "Sure, let's go with Gary." Which again, like I don't know if you and I disagreed with this at the time. I kind of have a fuzzy memory of you and I at the time. Maybe like me thinking like I think that's funny, and you saying, "Well, it doesn't really fit with Piggy because she obviously has worked with this guy for decades."
Yeah, I'm torn because it is funny for Piggy to be so in her own world of her own stardom that she doesn't know who the other Muppets are. I think that, and that happens more on the series too. But I think it's funny. But I do think it's a little bit of a stretch for Gonzo to be on that list of people that she doesn't remember, even though she's worked with him so many times.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think actually of all the characters, it makes the most sense that she would at least pretend to not know Gonzo because she thinks he's kind of disgusting.
Oh, that could be if he,
Yeah.
yeah, she
Um,
doesn't want him to know that she knows who he is.
yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
part about doing love, I know we did just say that. Well, this isn't a contemporary reference. I do like that we did love letters for a month at the Fisher Theater in Detroit. That made me laugh.
It's such a specific little thing.
Yeah,
I think it's hysterical.
yeah.
So Piggy tells Kermit like she's perfectly fine with him dating Denise because she's dating someone new as well. Topher Grace re-enters the scene, and they have this very weird long makeout session.
They kiss for a very long time.
Yeah, and it didn't stand out as good to me back when I saw this for the first time. But like, it didn't stand out to me how awkward it was until today because I guess I was thinking about when Piggy would be flirting with the male celebrities back on the old Muppet Show, and it was just a lot of like flirtation. Maybe there's a stolen kiss. There's a lot of like Piggy just trying to like cuddle up to somebody or whatever it is, but like not like let's open up our mouths and stick each other's tongues into
That's
each
true.
other.
Yeah, I mean, she would like. She kisses Elton John's chest, and she probably, I think, maybe kisses Rudolph Nureyev's chest. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're
yeah,
right. Not a lot of like, yeah, full on Muppet to human lip action.
right. And this is definitely like, oh, it's gonna be more adult. That's what they're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
Like Piggy
it's
is gonna make
very
out with people.
weird.
Hope
It's
you're into that.
yeah, I think it's funny, but yes, it is weird for sure.
Uh, Apparently TMZ has caught wind of Miss Piggy and Topher. Their celebrity mashup name is Tofiggy.
Oh yeah.
It's cute.
Actually,
Um,
did she really on the series, other than Josh Groban, do we even see Piggy dating anybody?
that's a good question. I don't
I think it's
think we
just Josh
do.
Groban.
I don't
Hmm.
think we do. Yeah, that's interesting.
It kind of seems like they're setting that up for more of that here.
Yeah,
Like Kermit has a new girlfriend. Piggy's gonna maybe date around, or I mean, I'm sure there was never a plan to have Topher Grace as a recurring presence on the series, but
but maybe that may have been a good decision if they had gone that way. Not for Topher Grace necessarily, but like to show Piggy kind of dating around a little bit because the Piggy stories we got, especially in the first half of the series, were all about her kind of self sabotaging the show. And so if instead she's kind of acting up in response to Kermit's new relationship by, dating a string of celebrities, that could have opened up a whole world of interesting story possibilities that don't involve her clashing, with the other Muppets.
yeah, they would have just had to find a way to have her keep dating different guest stars without it just getting repetitious.
You know, Seinfeld did it for like 13
Oh
years.
yeah, yeah,
Jerry
yeah. That
dating
would
a
be
different girl
funny.
every week.
Yeah, Piggy's dating some super hot celebrity, but then finds some really superficial reason to be
Yeah, yeah,
dissatisfied with him. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's sitcom 101.
yeah.
One
Well,
tiny flaw and you blow it out.
yeah,
Anyway, the scene ends with Kermit kind of saying through the side of his mouth to Gonzo, "We're screwed, Gary." It's cute. I like
yes,
Gonzo as Gary.
sure.
I don't know why. It tickles me. In our next scene, we are going to catch up with Fozzie. He is meeting his girlfriend's parents. Which, of course, we saw this scene play out in the series itself. The parents are played by Jer Burns and Megan Faye, who also played Becky's parents in the show. But
Yes,
Becky,
and I should say our friend and previous guest of this podcast, Anthony Strand, pointed out that his name is actually pronounced Jerry Burns,
oh
even
right,
though it's Jere, which you would swear would be pronounced Jer or Jeer. It's Jerry.
my brain doesn't want to
Uh,
register that fact.
no, no, why would you? Yeah,
Jerry Burns. God, that
yeah,
seems also
strange.
it sounds like saying it out loud. It's the two Muppet Show head writers, Jerry Jewell and Jack Burns. Just mash them up.
Wow,
Jerry Burns.
yeah.
Wow, nobody's gonna care about that joke. Cool. All right. Anyway,
Is he a better writer
Becky
than Jack Jewell? I
Fozzie's.
don't know.
Sorry, I talked over you. Say again.
I'm just trying to say something about Jack Jewell. I don't know.
Jack name. Jack Jewel.
There you go. Thanks for
There it
saving
is.
it.
So Becky is not played by Ricky Lindholm, as she will be in the series. She's played by Margot Harshman. She was a recurring character on Even Stevens, appeared on 46 episodes of that show. She also had a recurring character on The Big Bang Theory and NCIS. I have absolutely no idea why she was not selected to play this role in the series.
I don't
I
know.
think she's
There's no. I
perfectly
can't.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. And I imagine her being on The Big Bang Theory is why she's in this because of the connection to Bill Prady, the co-creator of the show.
Yeah, yeah. I bet you're right. The only thing I can think of is, Ricky Lindholm is known as someone who is very funny and can sing. And although we didn't really get to see her sing much on the show, I guess they maybe were like keeping that in their back pocket in case they wanted Becky to have more of a performing side to her. I have no idea.
Just in case, yeah, maybe.
A little bit of continuity. I appreciated that Fozzie is actually wearing a different necktie.
He
Did you
is,
notice
yes.
this?
That's fun. Yeah.
It's blue. It's got a little paisley pattern on it. So at first, they kind of go through most of the scene, and we talked about this scene earlier in the podcast series, I talked a bit about how I couldn't see it any other way than the parents being making racist comments, and just through the filter of, well, he's a bear as opposed to being a person of a different color or creed.
Right.
And for the most of the scene, I thought like, oh, well, this is not nearly as racist as it will be on the show. And then the father has a line where he asks, well, what if you have children? Where will they go to the bathroom? In the woods? And Fozzie goes, okay, that is an offensive stereotype. Like, he
Yeah.
literally calls it out as like, that is actually racist, and you can't say that. And then they made a whole episode about it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
They weren't done with this joke yet.
Yeah. Fozzie calls Kermit, who is in his car, and this is another one of those things where like we were kind of excited to see Muppets in the real world. We see Kermit, behind the wheel of the car, and we see Animal on a motorcycle in the background.
Yeah, I do love all the stuff with Muppets driving on this series.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. How do you feel about Kermit's line, "I hate the 405"?
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that line. For one thing, it's a very LA joke. They're probably. And did he ever say this on the show? I don't remember.
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Okay, so this was.
I don't think we've really seen Kermit drive on the show. Maybe once in the episode where Fozzie's in the woods, Bear left and Bear right.
Yeah, I think that might. I mean, yeah, Fozzie drove a couple times. Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, in the last one, he drives when he runs into Jack White. But anyway, yeah, I hate the 405. So I guess this was intended to be seen by ABC executives who all live in Los Angeles. So they're all probably just like, oh yeah, the 405. We hate driving on that freeway too. Like, I recognize that reference.
Kermit's
But
just like us.
yeah, but then just having Kermit say, I hate the 405, that is definitely an indication of the tone of the early episodes of the season, where Kermit is kind of a more of a downer of a character, like, I have to drive to work, now I have to go do this. So he's, for the most part in this pilot, he's not like that, but this feels like maybe an indication of the fact that he's going to be like that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's weird. I don't want to complain about it's such an LA specific joke, because like you and I live in New York City, and like there's so many TV shows and movies make specific New York references.
Like
that
half
I
the
love.
jokes on 30 Rock.
Yeah. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, although I am always very conscious of the fact that, like, millions of people in other parts of the country are not going to get this joke about the G train or whatever.
That's true.
But
The G train normal.
exactly.
But here's one thing I don't understand, and this actually has nothing to do with the show. But like in LA, why do they refer to their highways as the 405? They're always the. We don't say that anywhere else. Like, we don't say like, I'm going to take the 271 out of Cleveland. You just say, I'm going to take 271 out of Cleveland.
Yeah, you wouldn't say. Yeah, I'm thinking about other places that I've driven. No, I don't.
It's a very LA thing.
It is.
Kermit
there was another.
Kermit may hate the 405, but I hate the The 405.
You hate the. There's
That's
another
right.
big one in LA too. That's like is it the 305 or the? There's another
Who
very
knows?
similar freeway
Who cares? It's on
that
the
they
other
refer
side
to
of the
the
world.
same
Who
way.
cares about that place?
Huh.
Uh, so Kermit has his line here that was one of the more famous ones after this trailer and in the show. Kermit says that everyone's going to be upset. Well, except for the band. They're always happy. Legally now.
Yeah.
That's a straight up drug reference.
I'm sure we
First
talked
of
about this
first of
before,
many.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that one. It's an innuendo.
Hmm.
Innuendos are if he and I may have said this exact thing already. If he had been like, they're always happy legally now because they're smoking a lot of pot, but that would not have been funny. But the innuendo is funny.
Yep. Absolutely. Um, anyway, let's get out of that scene. I don't want to talk about Kermit in his car anymore. Being
No,
all angry
I
about
hate being
the
stuck in the 405.
those numbered highways with the thes. So he goes back to the studio and he's ready to tell everybody that the show is not going to get picked up because Miss Piggy is not here. Everyone starts telling him about like they've already spent their money. That I don't even know if they talked about earning any money for the show, but they've already spent it. The Electric Mayhem added a lap pool to the tour bus. Uncle Deadly hired Katy Perry to sing in his nephew's bar mitzvah. By the way, that's why he's Uncle Deadly because he has a nephew.
Oh, of course.
Think about it. The Swedish chef is starting a Swedish sushi restaurant, which is, I guess, just meatballs over rice, which
Right.
sounds delicious. I don't know. Doesn't sound
I
weird
would
at
eat that.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and the Muppet Newsman, his shoes are filled with caviar.
Right. I'm really glad you wrote all those down. That's good.
You're welcome. uh, then I love that Chip chimes in again. He says, "Hey guys, was I in Muppet Treasure Island?"
Yeah.
Now, for the
No,
record,
I
he
don't
was
think
not.
he was. No,
No,
no.
he was not in Muppet Treasure Island.
I
Chip, you're
can't see
wrong.
him as a pirate or a sailor. Or
That would have been actually hysterical, but yes, you're right. A part of me really wishes they would have kept up this gag for Chip throughout the series of like not knowing who he is
Oh,
or
wow.
why
Yeah,
he belongs with the Muppets.
yeah. It would be very meta, which they didn't really get into much. But
They
yeah, it would have been
absolutely did not,
funny
but
to
yeah.
have him like, was I in the Bruce Forsyth episode of the Muppet Show? Yeah, that would have been
Like, do you
really funny.
remember when we sang that song together? Oh wait, that wasn't me. Yeah, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And maybe again, like just spitballing here, maybe the show would have been better if they had just kind of filled it with the weird meta humor, like more of that stuff that we're talking about, where like Gonzo is talking about talking heads while doing a talking head.
yeah. I think it would have been suitably Muppety, and it would have been good.
Yes. Yeah. Missed opportunity, right there. Miss Piggy makes a grand entrance. She's back, and then she walks straight into a pane of glass, being carried by Bunsen and Beaker in true movie comedy fashion. And she leaves this perfect little snout mark in the middle of the
That
glass.
is fantastic. Yeah, I love that gag.
I
Everything
have
about
no
it.
idea how they did that. By the way, like, did she have like a little bit of makeup
Uh,
on the puppet and she made a mark? Did they add it in post? I have no idea.
yeah, assuming it was practical, I would guess that it was something applied to her snout, and then it left the mark. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, like she came back, because as she says, "This is my family." Gary, the tooth guy, the blue one over there. I love it. If only there was a third reference to Miss Piggy not knowing anyone's name, so it would have been a great rule of three. But
Oh
I'll
yeah.
leave it be. Uh, Piggy gets a talking head and says to the whoever's behind the camera, Walter, I assume. I don't know.
Yeah.
She denies that she quit this Civil War movie so she could be with Kermit. And Gonzo is standing behind her with a cup of coffee, and he just goes, "So gimmicky."
Yeah.
And he's right. It's super gimmicky, but
It
that's why we're
is.
here.
Yeah.
We're here for that Kermit Piggy drama.
Uh, yeah. I guess that's what they were counting on people coming for.
That's right. So Piggy says, "Who wants a selfie?" And Janice leans in for one. And Denise leans in on the other side. And Miss Piggy literally kind of shoves her hip into her to shove her out of the way. Um, and for a moment, we almost got a scene where two female characters with names talk to each other about something other than a man. But instead, they just have a silent
Hmm.
moment as they're taking a picture.
Yeah. Yeah. That does not count.
Oh well, maybe next time.
Oh well.
Um, Gonzo says to Kermit, "Look at that, you got us on the air." And Kermit says, "Yep, and it made my life a bacon-wrapped hell on earth," which was almost the name of this podcast.
Why didn't we go with that?
We should have. That's so catchy. Everyone would have known what that means when they see it as they're scrolling through iTunes or Spotify.
They
Or
would have
whatever.
thought it was a bacon podcast. We would have gotten like bacon enthusiasts listening.
Shame. Another
Yeah, we
missed
missed out.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Man.
absolutely. Yeah, that
But
was a
yes,
popular joke too when this was released on YouTube. That was, I mean, it's there's the whole thing of like, ooh, Kermit said hell, but it's yeah, it works, I think.
yeah, and we talked about this, but it works a little bit better in the series where Kermit says that line and Sam walks by and goes, "Can't say hell."
Oh yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
is better.
a little bit. Yeah. But again, like for the pilot presentation, where they're just trying to convince ABC executives that this is going to be adult Muppet stuff. Like this is for the grown-ups in the room because there's no children in this executive board of trustees.
Yeah,
So I bet they love that. Kermit says hell.
sure.
The pilot presentation ends with Statler and Waldorf they're sitting in the test audience, uh, rating the show and giving it as bad a review as they possibly can. Statler has turned his knob down so far that he broke it. That's the joke. They don't like
I mean,
Muppets.
yeah,
It's
it's fine.
fine.
It's
It's
nice to see
nothing.
Statler and Waldorf, but yeah, there's not much of a joke there. Yeah, but have you ever been in one of these test audiences?
Um, so I twice, and neither of them really count. One of them I was too young to remember. My family did. We must have been like at the mall or something, and we got flagged down, and we got to do the when they say 100 people surveyed for Family Feud. We were
Whoa.
among the 100 people surveyed, but I was so young I didn't know what I was doing, and so my
Uh,
parents just kind of voted for me on the little thing. But I definitely have a very distinct memory of sitting in a theater, and they had a screen. They showed the thing, and then we basically they already have the answers written out. You're not like typing them or anything. You just pick,
I've often
you know,
wondered. So it's like multiple choice essentially.
yeah, exactly,
Uh,
yeah. The other time was I was in Las Vegas and in one of the hotels, and they flagged my wife and I, and we were like, "Great, let's do it. We have time to waste." They were offering us free stuff, and we got in there, and they had a technical issue, and none of the knobs worked, and so we couldn't do it, and we had to leave. We still got the free stuff, but like
they
we didn't
didn't.
get to.
They didn't just have you be like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs
No, I
down to somebody.
wish. I wish. No, because I was so curious, and to this day I have no idea what we were gonna be watching.
Uh,
I'm so curious.
well, yeah. Mine in the '90s, I was on a family vacation actually to Las Vegas, so probably the same hotel. I don't remember. It might have been the MGM Grand, but we saw the pilot episode of the Rhea Perlman sitcom Pearl,
Oh yeah, I watched
which
Pearl
was
with
not
Malcolm
bad.
McDowell.
Yes, yeah. And
Yes,
then
comedy legend Malcolm McDowell.
right, hilarious. And then we came back again the next day because we loved it so much. And that time we saw the pilot of a drama called Maloney. It was about a police psychologist, which I actually ended up watching that show for the whole season, but neither of those got a second season. So
Wow,
despite all my pushing the like button in the test screening, both of them were quickly canceled.
wow, fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, I'm genuinely curious if they did actual test audiences for this show, and if so, what do they
Oh,
like? What do they not like? Yeah, no
I
clue.
bet they did. It was pretty huge when this premiered.
Yeah, yeah, I bet you're right. Also, like if they're gonna retool the show, like that's how you do it. Like halfway through, you look and see what the test audiences thought and take their input
Right.
into account and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
The only other thing that I noted after watching this is I went on the Muppet Wiki to read a little bit about some other Muppet pilots that did not get made into actual TV shows, especially from this era. We obviously know that the Muppet Show had the Valentine Show and Sex and Violence and all that, but those actually led to the creation of the Muppet Show.
Yeah,
Um,
eventually.
yeah, likewise the Inner Tube pilot, which became the Jim Henson Hour. I feel like there's that we could do a whole podcast about those. But uh, there were four other pilots that came in the years leading up to this. In 2002, there was a pilot called The Muppets Present, which I know you and I have seen. Most people have probably not. Where it's basically just Kermit and Pepe in front of the camera talking about this new Muppet show. It's going to be for grown-ups, and we're going to be able to swear. And then they both say the word ass a lot, and it's really
Yeah.
awful.
There's not much to it.
No,
And
there's
this
not.
is the one like that. So that was the 25th anniversary of the Muppet Show, right? And
Yeah, that lines up.
that was supposed to be part of the big commemoration. Was like, and here's our new Muppet Show, but then it didn't end up happening.
Well, then they said the word ass, and then everyone was like, "Nah,
Yeah,
never mind. I don't want that."
forget it.
In 2005, they shot a pilot called America's Next Muppet, in which the
Oh
Muppets
yeah,
hold a fictional reality show auditioning the next character to join the Muppet Troupe. That would have been interesting. I've never seen it. I don't know if anyone
yeah.
has. So I would
That
love to
sounded
see what that
fun.
looks like.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'm not sure it would have been a great idea. I mean, maybe it would have been a fun miniseries, but it really would have had to be pretty self-referential.
Well, what was
Um,
the idea for it to be actual like other puppeteers and their characters, or would they just be characters that were made up specifically for the show who were just Muppets and they were trying to make it into the troupe?
if they really wanted to add a new Muppet, like Walter style, like they did in 2011, then they would have had to be something that Disney owned outright. Like they wouldn't be able to say like, oh, you puppeteer in Nebraska, bring your creation
Right.
to us, and then we'll buy it from you. That would have been weird.
Yeah, that's true.
In 2006, they did a pilot. It's kind of a pilot. This you can watch on YouTube as well. It's called The Muppets Spotlight, and it's kind of a spoof of Entertainment Tonight. Or that type of news entertainment news show where it's like Kermit's hosting the show and he cuts to Piggy, she's talking about celebrities, she cuts to Gonzo and Rizzo, they're talking about sports. Fozzie's on the red carpet of something or other. Uh, the it's not. I watched it before we recorded this. It's not great. It's also in that weird era where like I feel like they just didn't know what to do with the Muppets, and it's just like I don't know. People watch entertainment news. Maybe if the Muppets
Yeah,
say it instead, it's gonna be funny. Um, anyway, watch that. It's on YouTube.
that's
And
probably fine that didn't get made
yeah,
or that it didn't
and
lead
then
to anything.
exactly yeah. The last one in 2007, Bill Prady wrote and produced another pilot. It is also a mockumentary style, following the Muppets as they develop a new series. Um, we know we know that they filmed it, and apparently Bill Prady has been ordered by ABC or Disney or whoever owns it to destroy every copy that exists.
Yeah, that's so interesting, and I don't really know
No,
why they
yeah,
would say
unless it's
that.
so bad, unless it's just like Star Wars Holiday Special bad.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
it just
imagine.
makes us want to watch it more. Just want
Yeah,
to get our hands
exactly.
on it.
It's got to be
Well,
out there somewhere. Yeah.
that's also the one, if I remember correctly, where it's brought up that Fozzie has continued his career as a comedian and that he was uh, he had been a writer on the show Moesha.
That's right. Which I don't know how funny that would have been in 2007, but now in 2021, that's hysterical.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
probably
I'm sure
hypocritical of me because that's like a very specific pop culture reference from a certain time period. But
it is, but
whatever.
specific pop culture. I mean, I don't know. This is a different topic, I think. But like, I feel like these pop culture references are funnier when we can kind of do it in retrospect, or we can
Yeah,
make a reference that's 10, 15 years old, or 20 or 30 years old, even.
yeah.
I
That
don't know.
actually it doesn't feel like the same as I've already forgotten the one that we were complaining about earlier. Oh, Uber.
Earlier,
It doesn't feel the
Uber,
same
yeah,
as Uber because Uber is just like a, oh, here's a contemporary reference that everyone will recognize. Moesha feels more like it rewards people who are like really into pop culture
yeah. It
who
also
would recognize
it
that.
doesn't cement it in today. Like that joke is going to be just
Right.
as funny today as it will be in 5 years,
Yeah.
because it's always going to be, hey, remember Moesha?
Right.
Yeah. Um, so I'm sure that a lot of ideas from that Bill Prady project made it into this. Uh,
Well, yeah. So that one was 2007.
yeah.
Yeah. It just occurs to me then that that's a few years before Jason Segel came to Disney with and said, hey, let's bring back the Muppets. So just the timing of that, you have to think that maybe after the Jason Segel movie and Muppets Most Wanted, then they kind of went back to Bill Prady and were like, hey, remember when you made that Muppet pilot? Let's try that again. Now that people actually want to see the Muppets again.
Right. And now that Bill Prady is like, hot for being the Big Bang Theory guy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't in 2007, right? When did that show
Uh,
start?
I
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Who cares? We're not Googling that. You can look it up yourselves,
That's
listeners.
right. We're declaring it right here. We don't care about the Big Bang Theory.
Bazinga. So, Ryan, at the end of every episode, you and I have been asking our guests, now that you've revisited this episode, how did it compare to your first viewing? But now that we're done, I'm curious, now that we've rewatched and reviewed and discussed all 15 episodes of the show again 5 years later, has your opinion of the series as a whole changed since your original viewing in 2015, 2016?
It's funny. I think I pretty much went on the same journey during this rewatch that I did during the original airing, with the difference being that I had seen them before, so I kind of knew what was coming. But I kind of started out in the early episode like going, oh yeah, this is really funny, being aware of the fact that a lot of people don't like it, just as I was aware back then after the first episode aired of how many people didn't like it. But me kind of watching it and going, no, this is, there's a lot to like about this. It has some things that need work, but there's a lot to like about it. And then as the season went on, having the same sort of like, oh wow, yeah, this is getting better, and this is starting to feel more like the Muppets, like what we want them to be. So yeah, pretty much I went through the same the same arc this time, where by the end of the season I was like, oh yeah, this is good, this is what I want to see, give me more of this. But there's no more.
Yeah, I'd mostly agree with that. I will say the thing that surprised me the most is I've been basically complaining about the series for the last few years, like very shortly after it ended, to say like, well, it wasn't very good in the end, and I just kind of had that notion in my head, and to rewatch it now and to go, well, first of all, it may not be great, it may not be the perfect project for the Muppets, but like it's not bad, and every episode has several jokes that made me laugh out loud. Like some of the
Absolutely.
writing was really sharp. Some of the writing was really dumb. Some of the writing, as has been pointed out by some of our guests, it just they didn't get the Muppets. They didn't get the
Just
characters.
misguided, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother complaint. But like at the same time, to be able to pull out these gems, or to be able to see like they had an opportunity to play with the characters more, to experiment, to play with puppetry more, and experiment with
Oh
like the
yeah.
technology that they had available to them, which is like it's the kind of stuff that you can only do when you have a weekly show, when you're making something over and over and over again,
Yeah.
as opposed to just one special or one appearance on a TV show or whatever the Muppets have been doing for the last few years. So there's a lot to appreciate. I'm really glad that we revisited it.
Me too.
It's been a fun project. I'm glad that we recorded this podcast.
Yeah, and I hope people also are glad that they listen to it. But yeah, there's always that thing when it's always going to be different to revisit something than it is when you're watching it the first time, especially us loving the Muppets as much as we do, and the fact that they've had so many dry periods where there's almost nothing new to watch, and then oh cool, there's a whole series that's going to be on every week, and then maybe some people tuned in and were like, "Oh, really? Is this it? Is this the best they can do?" And then they had to wait another week for the next episode and went, "Really? Is this it? Is this the best they can do?" Whereas rewatching it, we can kind of just appreciate the parts that work, and then wait for the parts that don't work to get better.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm also reminded of when the series ended and we found out that it was not being renewed,
Which
and kind of having. I'm sorry, what?
they took a while to let us know. The last episode aired on March 1st, and they didn't announce that it was canceled until May 12th. They left us hanging.
Yeah, yeah, not great. Um, I just like this, and I think people who may remember what we were going through 5 years ago would remember the like kind of the it wasn't really panic. It was just like it was depressing that the Muppets now have had a failed film with Muppets Most Wanted in the eyes of Disney. It's a terrific movie,
Yeah,
but it did
very
not sell.
very good. Yeah, very good film, but
Yeah,
not a huge box office hit.
Exactly. And now a failed TV show. And it's like, well, what else is Disney going to do with the Muppets? Because not only have they potentially decided that they don't work in film or television, so where else do they go? But they've got this franchise that, like, it's an expensive franchise to keep up. And are they just going to bury it? Is that the end of the Muppets? And being you and I, guys who run a Muppet fan site, is like is anyone listening to us as we're talking about like promoting these shows or promoting the brand and getting people excited about like what what's great about the Muppets? So I don't know about you, but like I had a really weird like existential moment of is this worth it
Oh
after
yeah.
this cancellation? And I'm really grateful to look back and know and like realize how wrong I was, because the Muppets did make a lot of good work after this show was over, and it was a bit of an uphill climb, and it still is. Things are always changing. Um, but the Muppets aren't dead. They're not
No, not
forgotten.
yet.
Yeah, not yet. They're not forgotten in the recesses of Disney. Uh, like just like in like a half of a cubicle in the basement of an office in Burbank.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I don't know. I've never been there. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm just glad that this wasn't like the final death stake of the brand.
No, and yeah, I did kind of. We did worry that it might be. Yeah, I do vividly remember. Well, so we had a whole thing going on social media with. We were pushing the hashtag Renew the Muppets,
That's right.
and you made a bunch of images with the characters and different captions and things, and we
Yep.
were
Yeah,
really.
we teamed up with the Muppet Mindset, and
Yeah,
like we saw it was getting a lot of traction just like in
yeah,
our circles.
right. Facebook and Twitter. I think like you were posting something maybe every day for a while
Oh,
there.
for sure. Yeah.
So then, yeah, it was very disappointing when it was canceled after all of that. And yeah, you and I both wrote very sad articles. Mine was just like, boy, I sure am depressed that the Muppets TV show got canceled. And then yours was like, why are we even doing this? Why are we even making a website about the Muppets if this is all that's going to happen?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I mean,
so,
it's I've said this many times, but running a Muppet fan site, or probably a fan site for anything really, is you forget that there are people who are reading what you're writing or listening to your podcast or whatever it is,
right.
because we don't get face to face with the people who consume our product, and so especially at that moment, it was just like, am I talking? Am I just shouting at a brick wall? Like, is
Yeah, what's
anyone
the
on the other
point?
side of this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I'm very grateful that we do have people who read what we write and who retweet when we tweet and stuff like that. It's just like in that moment, the only people who seemed to care about this show were the people in the Muppet fan community.
Right.
Beyond that, nobody wanted this.
Well, do you remember there was a guy on Twitter who, after all of these posts, was like, "Hey, you guys are doing too much of this. Like, I only follow your account to find out about stuff that's like Muppet events that are going on in New York City. Can you just knock it off?" And that was like, "Oh, really? Oh, I'm so sorry that we're trying to keep this Muppet TV show going, and it's inconvenient for you, you hipster."
Oh man. Well, on that lovely note, I'm very pleased that even though this show is long gone, the Muppets are not. But unfortunately, this podcast, this mini series of episodes, has come to its natural conclusion, and this is the very end of the very final episode of the Muppets, the
Well,
sitcom, the podcast.
I have another question for you though,
Oh yeah, I
for
was in the
just
middle of
for
my
a
big
point of
outro, but sure, just
no,
interrupt
yeah.
that.
Do you think? Sorry. Do you think it might have gone better if they had gone with a slightly different format? Because one thing about this pilot that we just watched, there is no up late with Miss Piggy. They're saying we're doing a TV show, but it's not a late night talk show hosted by Miss Piggy. So,
Yeah, that
do you
that
think?
definitely seems to follow the format that we've read about from this other Bill Prady show, where they're developing the series.
Right. What if it
Um,
had been about behind the scenes at a Muppet sitcom or behind the scenes at a Muppet variety show or something else? And if it wasn't, because I think making Miss Piggy the star of the show within the show also led to some, I don't know, imbalance or whatever early on.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think I don't know if the problems with this show really lied in the narrative format as much as they did with the character work. So like if you do change it to like, well, they're making a variety show and all the characters get to play, but Miss Piggy is still like the focus because that's we've decided this Kermit Piggy relationship is going to be the focus of the ongoing series, and
Right.
she's still always going to be antagonizing the characters. It's like we would have ended up with the same problems that we started with.
Yeah.
I do think that would have been better, like you say, there would have been better formats that they could have
I
chosen.
think, yeah, there were some ways to go that maybe it wouldn't have gotten off to such a rocky start.
Yeah. Well, and we've said kind of behind the scenes like, okay, if they were going to do a new Muppet show, what would it be? And one of the almost natural results of those unofficial brainstorming sessions was like, what if the Muppets had a late night show? Because
Yeah, you had
that's
actually been. I had heard you
yeah,
say that for years before this
yeah,
show
for
happened.
sure.
Yeah.
So when that was announced, because like that's you get all your sketches, you get your celebrities, like it would have been great. But we were thinking like an actual late night show where maybe it's even like semi live, like your Jimmy Fallon's and Jimmy Kimmel's, where
Yeah.
like you can get the puppeteers to really show off their improv skills, stuff like that. But when this show was announced and we saw that was the format they were going with, we went great because that works for the Muppets. That's what the new variety show is. But they didn't take advantage of any of those elements of what a variety
Right.
show is
And of
up
course,
until
now
the
that we're
very end
talking
of the
about
show.
this, yeah, I realize that we're sort of describing the Not Too Late Show with Elmo and Earth to Ned. So,
Yeah, I mean, definitely when the Elmo talk show premiered, I think a lot of us thought this is like what the Muppets should be doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Um,
next time.
Maybe next time. Hopefully, you know what? I am really keeping my fingers crossed that the Muppets will get another chance at like a good narrative TV show.
I
I'm not
think,
counting Muppets Now. That's a series of basically of YouTube videos. It's a different
yeah.
type of project, but like let the Muppets, give it an opportunity to be fun and funny and do some good character work and some good puppetry and just let the Muppets be Muppets.
Yeah, I hope it seems like the Muppet Show on Disney Plus has really struck a chord with the general audience. So I hope that inspires them to do something.
Yes, hopefully a new Muppet Show. Hmm?
If it was something similar to the Muppet Show, that would be good. Yes.
Well, if that ever happens, we'll do a whole podcast about just that. But for now, this is the very end. As I was trying to say a few minutes ago, Brian,
Oh wait, I have
this,
three more things. No, sorry.
this is the very end of the Muppets the Sitcom, the podcast. Ryan, thank you for being my alternating co-host on this thing. It's been a blast.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you to all of our guests who joined us for these great conversations. Thank you, the audience, for sticking around and playing with us. And thank you to Stacy Rosen, who recorded our theme music. And am I forgetting anyone? Thanks to the Muppets. You
Thank you
guys
to
did a
you for
pretty
making our
okay TV show.
logo,
Oh yeah, you're welcome. All I did was type the letter M with a period.
and you made a little
A little
Kermit
Kermit
collar under
collar.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on this channel, this Muppet fan podcast with toughpigs.com channel, we are going to be having a new podcast show soon. So stick around and find out what that is. And make sure you're following us on all the social media channels, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and anywhere else, probably not.
Just toughpigs.com on the internet,
That's the one,
the World
toughpigs.com,
Wide Web.
on that old information superhighway. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you